Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. I'm Alex, 29, and I slapped my phone off the counter. The screen kept lighting up like it was mocking me. I grabbed it with greasy fingers and nearly dropped it again. The family group chat was exploding and my sister was typing fast. Then two photos hit the thread and everything tilted. My thumb froze over the first image because I knew. You know that split second when you already regret looking. I tapped anyway because curiosity beats survival sometimes. It loaded sharp and close and my face went hot. The second photo followed and that one was worse. I tried to long press and delete like that fixes anything. It only removed it for me, which felt like a sick joke. My cousin reacted with a shocked emoji, then another, then nothing. My mom's bubbles appeared, vanished, then appeared again. I stared at the images like they were evidence at trial. The first photo was my sister in a mirror, too personal. Not artsy, not playful, just raw and meant for one person. The second photo was a man's hand on her hip. A wedding band sat on his finger, bright and undeniable. My chest tightened when I realized everyone saw that ring. My aunt posted, "What am I looking at right now?" My uncle replied with, "Please tell me this is fake." Someone tried to change the subject with a meme, bless them. It died immediately under the weight of silence. Then my dad wrote one word, call, and it landed like a punch. I typed delete that now and hit send too hard. My sister's reply came fast, wrong chat, then nothing else. No follow-up, no apology, no explanation, just avoid. The typing dots flickered once, then stopped like a heart monitor. I watched them disappear and felt my own pulse spike. My mom called her 3 times in 30 seconds. Each missed call posted into the chat like a public siren. My grandma sent, sweetheart, and the single word hurt. My brother wrote, who is he, and nobody answered him. I could feel the family turning into a jury. I called my sister directly, and it rang without mercy. It went to voicemail and I hung up mid-greeting. I tried again because quitting felt like letting her drown. Still nothing, just that endless ring tone and my breathing. Why would she go silent right after that? My fingers flew over the screen with dumb solutions. I searched for unsend like I had never used a phone. I checked if the app had a delete for everyone option. It didn't, because of course it didn't, because life hates mercy. All I could do was watch the chat fill with questions. My cousin tried to defend her, which made it uglier. Maybe it's a prank, he wrote, and nobody bought it. My mom replied, stop, and you could hear her voice through text. My aunt asked, is he married, and the ring answered for her. I felt sick that a piece of jewelry was speaking for a stranger. I opened the second photo again because I'm not proud. I zoomed without thinking, like I was chasing a lifeline. The hand had a watch with a scuffed middle clasp. That scratch looked familiar, and I hated that my brain noticed. I told myself it meant nothing, and I did not believe me. My dad started a new thread because he panics through control. Everyone stop, he wrote, then called anyway. My mom replied, Alex, are you with her? And I was. I wrote no, then deleted it, then wrote it again. My sister was still offline, and that felt intentional. I stood there holding my phone like it was a bomb. The photos sat in the chat, unmoving, impossible to bury. I imagined my sister alone, and I imagined her with him. Both images made my stomach twist for different reasons. Then footsteps came down the hall, and I heard my husband's voice. I shoved my screen under my husband's face before I blinked. His eyes widened, then narrowed like he was measuring damage. What is that? His voice came out too calm. I didn't answer because his calm scared me more. He reached for my device and I pulled it away. Give me that, his hand hovered then snapped back. I hated that my first instinct was to protect the proof. Why was I guarding it from him? He leaned closer and his jaw worked like he was chewing rage. This is your sister being reckless, he pointed at the photos. He tried to laugh and it landed flat on the floor. My skin prickled at how fast he chose blame. My mom called again and I let it ring. The vibration felt like a heartbeat I couldn't stop. My husband looked relieved when I ignored it. That tiny relief made my stomach turn. I answered on the third try because silence looked guilty. My mom's voice cracked through the speaker, sharp and shaking. Where is she? I swallowed and lied with one word. I don't know, the lie tasted like metal. My husband mouthed hang up and tapped his own wrist. It was a small gesture, but it hit me hard. He wanted control, and he wanted it right now. Why would this matter to him at all? I walked into the hallway. ND shut the door behind me. The lock clicked, and it sounded like a decision. My mom kept talking, and I missed half of it. All I heard was family and humiliation and answer me. I tried my sister again, and she finally picked up. Her breathing was wet and fast like she was running. Please don't yell, the words spilled out messy and terrified. That plea told me she knew exactly what she did. Are you safe? I pressed my knuckles to my mouth. A sob burst through the line, then a sharp inhale. I'm fine, it did not sound fine at all. Something slammed in the background and she went quiet. Where are you? I paced and kept my voice low. Not at home, another sob, then a hiss of breath. Don't tell Mom, she sounded like a kid again. That's when anger started beating through my ribs. You dropped that into the whole family, my voice shook. I know, she sniffed hard, then rushed words together. It was meant for him, she choked on that last word. The way she said him made my spine tighten. Is he married? I didn't soften it for her. A pause stretched long enough to count to 8. Yes, the answer came out thin, almost whispered. My grip tightened until my fingers ached. Who is he? I asked, and my heart hammered. I can't, she sounded like she was biting her tongue. You don't understand, she rushed the line like a shield. That was the moment I knew she understood too well. I heard a car door shut somewhere near her, too close. Are you with him right now? I stopped pacing. No, she answered too quickly, then added, not anymore. That extra part felt like a crack in the story. I stepped back into the kitchen, and my husband was waiting. He held his palm out, patient like a banker. Let me handle it, he kept his voice soft on purpose. Soft voices can still be threats. I didn't hand him anything, and he noticed. His mouth twitched and his eyes cut toward the screen. You're making this bigger, he tapped the counter twice. The tapping matched the speed of my panic. My sister whispered, he's going to leave her. I almost laughed because it was so painfully classic. You believe that? I kept my words tight and cruel. Her silence was the loudest answer she could give. My husband stepped closer and his sleeve slid back. A pale crescent scar showed near his thumb, clean and obvious. My sister's next words hit through the speaker like a blade. He has a scar there, then the line went dead. I lunged and caught his wrist before he could hide it. He jerked back and the motion screamed guilt. The scar sat there, plain and impossible to argue. I let go like it burned me, and he watched my face. Don't, he lifted both hands like I was holding a weapon. I kept my voice low because yelling felt too easy. Tell me you didn't, the words came out rough. He blinked twice and chose a smile that did not fit. You're spiraling, he stepped sideways, blocking my view of his phone. That move hit me harder than any insult. I nodded like I believed him, because I needed time. Then I reached past him and took his phone anyway. He grabbed for it and I twisted away fast. Give it back, his tone sharpened and it finally sounded real. I pressed the screen awake and my hands shook. The passcode box stared up at me like a locked door. I don't know it, I hated how small I sounded. He exhaled hard through his nose, then held out his palm. Hand it over, his fingers flexed like he was counting. I backed up until my spine met the wall. My own phone lit up again and the chat kept churning. Someone wrote, "We need answers now." Another message popped up, "This is disgusting." I turned my screen away from him because I didn't want him reading it. My mother called and this time I answered on speaker. Put him on, her voice was flat and terrifying. I glanced at my husband and he shook his head once. That single shake felt like a confession in plain sight. I'm here, he leaned toward the phone, too controlled. My mother didn't raise her voice, which scared me more. Are you involved with her? Silence stretched and he filled it too late. Of course not, his answer arrived with the wrong timing. I watched his throat move as he swallowed. I watched his eyes because eyes jump before lies land. Then unlock your phone, I kept it simple on purpose. He froze for half a second and that half second branded itself. That's insane, he scoffed then tried a softer angle. You don't trust me, his hand pressed to his chest like a vow. I almost laughed because the script was so familiar. Trust was not the question anymore, proof was. I pushed his phone toward him, screen still locked. Do it, I didn't blink. He stared at the passcode box, then stared at me. My mother's breathing came through the speaker, steady and waiting. He typed something and the phone opened. My heart kicked because now there was no going back. I snatched it again before he could close anything. He reached for my arm and I flinched on instinct. Touch me again and I call the police, my voice stayed even. His hand stopped midair like it hit an invisible wall. That pause told me he believed I might do it. I hated that it felt empowering. I went straight to messages because I'm not clever. His screen filled with names, and my mind started racing. Then I saw hers sitting there like a bruise. The last text preview made my vision narrow. Where are you? That was his last message to her. Not what happened or are you okay. Just location like a pickup plan. My mouth went dry because normal people don't text that. He moved behind me and his voice turned low. You're misreading it. His breath hit my ear and my skin crawled. I held the phone tighter, knuckles aching. Back up, I didn't turn around because I didn't trust my legs. I opened the thread and my thumb hovered over the scroll. Images loaded in tiny squares, blurred by default. My brain begged me not to tap them and I tapped anyway. The first clear photo was a hotel key card on my sister's palm. I stared at that key card number like it might blink. He lunged again, faster this time, and I dodged him. You're invading privacy, his voice cracked at the end. Privacy was a weird word to use right then. My mother heard the scuffle through the speaker. What is happening? Her tone snapped like a whip. I didn't answer her because I couldn't stop looking. A selfie popped up and his watch sat in the corner. I wanted to deny it, so I zoomed like an idiot. There was the scratch on the clasp, the same ugly mark. My pulse hammered and my hands turned clumsy. I whispered no, and it sounded like a prayer that failed. He tried a new tactic and it made me colder. This is your sister playing you, he pointed at my screen. She's jealous, the word landed wrong and he knew it. His eyes flicked to the door like he was planning an exit. My mother spoke again and now she was crying. Is it him? She didn't say his name because she couldn't. I stared at my husband's wedding band as he clenched his fist. Then my sister's name flashed on his phone and it was an incoming call. I hit the green button before thinking and put it on speaker. My husband's hand shot out and I swatted it away. He flinched like I'd slapped his pride instead. My sister's breath filled the room, ragged and close. Why are you calling him? My voice came out brittle. Her whisper scraped through the speaker, I panicked. My husband mouthed something and I pointed at him to stop. Then my sister said he told me you understand, and I went cold. I lowered the phone, then raised it again like a mistake loop. Say his name, my throat tightened on each word. She sniffed hard, I can't, like that was protection. My husband stared at the floor and his silence answered for her. My mother was still on my phone line, waiting like a trap. I tapped my screen, merged the calls and didn't warn anyone. 2 lines clicked together and the air felt thinner. My mom's voice hit first, what is happening right now? My husband lunged for my phone and I twisted away. Stop, I didn't shout and that made it scarier. He froze, then tried a softer face that looked borrowed. My sister gasped like she heard him move. My mom demanded, put your sister on video. I started a group call with shaking thumbs, no elegance. Faces appeared one by one and each looked ready to bite. My sister's camera stayed off and that felt like a confession. My dad joined last and didn't waste a breath. Turn it on, his voice sounded like a slammed door. My sister's screen flickered, then showed her eyes only. Her cheeks were wet and she kept looking past the camera. My aunt leaned close to her own screen, lips tight. You sent those to children, the words landed like a slap. My sister flinched and covered her mouth like she might be sick. My brother's face went red and he looked straight at me. My husband edged behind me, trying to appear supportive. I stepped sideways and blocked him with my shoulder. He blinked fast and his smile twitched like it hurt. My mother noticed and her gaze sharpened. My dad asked who is the man. My sister stared down, then shook her head too slowly. I held my husband's phone up toward the camera. The thread with her name sat open, bright and damning. My husband tried to speak, and my mom cut him off. Don't you dare, her voice came out low and deadly. He lifted his hands again, like innocence had a pose. My sister let out a sound that was half sob, half laugh. My dad pointed a finger at the screen, straight at me. Is it him? He didn't say husband, he didn't need to. My stomach twisted because everyone waited for my answer. My sister's eyes snapped up and I saw terror there. I shook my head because I wanted it to be true. Then my sister whispered, "It's him," and I stopped breathing. My mother made a sharp sound, like air leaving a tire. My husband's face went blank, like he'd been caught in daylight. My aunt started yelling, and my uncle tried to hush her. My dad didn't move, didn't blink, didn't soften at all. "Tell me it's a lie," his voice stayed steady. My sister wiped her face with her sleeve and shook her head once. My husband stepped forward with that practiced calm again. "This is a misunderstanding," he kept his tone smooth and warm. I turned his phone toward the camera and scrolled without mercy. A photo thumbnail flashed, and my sister covered her eyes. My mom whispered my sister's name, soft like grief. My sister cracked, "He promised he'd leave," then swallowed hard. My brother slammed his palm into something off-screen, furious. My dad didn't react, and that silence felt worse than screaming. I heard myself laugh and hated the sound instantly. "Leave who?" The question slipped out, ugly and sharp. My sister's lips trembled, then she looked straight at me. "Leave you," she said, and my vision blurred. My husband finally dropped the mask, and his voice turned hard. "Stop talking," he aimed it at my sister, not at me. My mother's eyes widened because she heard it too. My dad leaned closer to the camera, like he might climb through. My grandma joined late, and her face filled the screen. She stared at my husband, then at me, then back again. "I knew that, watch," her voice sounded small and sure. My husband's hand flew to his wrist, and everyone saw it. I took a step back and my heel hit the wall. My husband reached toward me, then stopped like he remembered the threat. My sister started sobbing again, and my mom started too. My dad asked one last time, "How long?" and my sister opened her mouth. I ended the group call with my thumb and a hard breath. My husband moved in like he owned the next moment. "Don't make a scene," he kept his voice low and tight. I grabbed his phone again because I needed leverage. He tried to pry it from my hands and I twisted away. "You already made the scene," my voice sounded cheuja even to me. He stopped short at that, like he heard a stranger. Then his eyes went to the door, measuring distance. I opened his settings and killed location sharing in 2 taps. He lunged and I stepped back with my palm up. "Stay there," I meant it and he knew it. His mouth opened then closed and that was new. My mom called again and I answered without thinking. "I'm leaving," I heard myself say it steady and plain. My mother sucked in air like she'd been punched. "Go to your sister," her voice shook but it wasn't weak. I walked past my husband and grabbed my keys. He blocked the doorway with his shoulders, playing big. "You're not going anywhere," he tried that calm again, it failed. I raised my phone and hovered over emergency call. He stepped aside fast, hands up, smile thin. "Fine," the word came out like a threat. I didn't argue, because arguing feeds people like him. I walked out and he didn't follow yet. I drove with one hand clenched on the wheel. My other hand kept checking mirrors like I expected headlights. My sister's texts started coming in, rapid and messy. "Please don't hate me," then I didn't know he was serious. I didn't answer because any reply would have been poison. I pulled up outside her place and sat for 3 beats. My chest felt tight, then empty, then tight again. Then I got out because fear loves hesitation. I knocked once, then twice, then I kicked the door lightly. My sister opened it, eyes swollen, hair pulled back fast. She tried to hug me and I stepped sideways. Her arms hung in the air and she looked small. "Where is he?" I kept my voice flat on purpose. She shook her head and wiped her face with her sleeve. "Not here," she backed up, letting me in. I didn't cross the threshold until she showed both hands. "You knew," the words came out before I could stop them. Her face twisted, then she looked down like she could hide there. "I didn't know it was him at first," she rushed it. The "at first" hit like a nail I could not pull out. I held up my husband's phone, screen bright with her thread. Her eyes snapped to it and she flinched. "Don't," she reached, then stopped herself. I scrolled to the hotel card photo and watched her break. "I'm sorry," she said it fast like speed counts. I waited because I wanted more than a word. She swallowed hard and finally looked at me. "He told me you two were done," her voice trembled on done. I laughed once, sharp and ugly, then I hated myself. Did you ask me? I leaned forward, forcing her eyes up. She shook her head and shame flashed across her face. That's what I thought. The room went tense and quiet. Her phone buzzed on the table and she grabbed it fast. I saw my husband's name on her screen and my stomach flipped. Answer it, I pointed and my hand didn't shake. She froze, thumb hovering like she wanted to disappear. I can't, her voice cracked, then she looked at my face. I took her phone and hit accept before she could blink. My husband's voice came through, smooth and quick. Tell her to calm down, he spoke like I was a dog. I put it on speaker and held it between us. You lost the right to give instructions, my words came slow. He paused and I pictured his jaw tightening. Then he tried to laugh and it sounded mean. Bring me my phone, his tone turned sharp on my. I looked at my sister and she looked away. No, one word, no apology, no softness. He went quiet for a beat that felt dangerous. You're blowing up your life for her, he aimed it at me. My sister whispered, he's lying, like that fixed anything. I stared at the wall and tried to keep breathing. Then I said, you already blew it up, and ended the call. My sister reached for my arm and I pulled away hard. Don't touch me, the words came out colder than I expected. She flinched like I'd slapped her and I didn't apologize. I wasn't ready to be kind, not to her. She started crying again, loud and messy, and I stayed still. I ruined everything, she rocked on her heels, shaking. I wanted to say she ruined my marriage, but I didn't. I said you helped and watched the truth land. My phone buzzed with a new message from my husband. It was a photo of my closet, drawers open like a warning. My sister saw my face change and grabbed my wrist. He's at your house, she whispered and my stomach dropped. I ran out to my car, keys slipping once. My sister chased me barefoot and begged through sobs. Let me come, she reached for the passenger handle. I shook my head and pulled away, leaving her on the curb. I drove faster than I should have, eyes dry and burning. When I pulled into my driveway, his car was there. The front door stood cracked open, like he wanted me to notice. I walked in, phone raised, ready to hit record. He was in the living room, calm like nothing happened. He held a small bag in his hand, already packed for himself. Let's talk, he tried, gentle like we were normal. I didn't sit because sitting turns into listening. You went through my stuff, my voice stayed even and flat. He shrugged once like privacy was a joke. I needed control, he actually said it out loud. That honesty should have shocked me, it didn't. I walked past him and grabbed one bag of my own. He followed 2 steps behind, keeping his distance now. Where will you go? His question sounded like strategy. I ignored it and went straight for the kitchen. I slid my ring off and set it on the counter. It made a small click and that click felt final. He stared at it like it was an insult. Don't do this, his voice cracked and it almost worked. I picked up his phone and placed it beside the ring. Keep both, my hands moved steady even as my chest shook. He stepped forward then stopped, like he feared my next move. I walked out with my bag and I didn't look back. Outside, my phone lit up with the family group chat again. No memes now, no jokes, just names and questions stacked high. My sister typed, then erased, then typed again. I turned my phone face down and kept walking into the night.